working as Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmaceutics, Smriti College of Pharmaceutical Education, Indore. Today, in unit number 1, Preformulation study, now we are going to start in main second point, that is solubility analysis. In previous video, we had discussed about the pKa determination or dissociation constant determination. After that, we had discussed and learned about the how we can increase the solubility of poorly water soluble drugs. Now today we are going to start with the partition coefficient. So partition coefficient, it is in the ratio of unionized drug concentration between organic and aqueous phases at equilibrium. It means the partition coefficient is denoted by K oil in water, or we can write the formula as the definition we had learned, that is, it is the ratio of drug concentration in between the organic phase or oily phase upon water phase. It should be at equilibrium. This oil phase could be N-octanol or chloroform or any other organic solvent we can use for this purpose. So partition coefficient, how we can perform the partition coefficient for the pre-formulation studies, or how it is significant for us as a formulator. So significance of partition coefficient is that, first of all, drug molecule having higher partition coefficient value, or those molecular drugs or API which have more partition coefficient value, they are known as lipophilic compounds, or they are soluble in organic phase or oil phase. So if the partition coefficient value is more, it means they are less or poorly water soluble. It means those substances can cross the lipidic membrane or cellular membrane easily. So this was the first significance of partition coefficient. It means जितनी ज़्यादा वैल्यू होगी पार्टीशन कोएफिशिएंट की, उतनी ही ज़्यादा परमिएबिलिटी होगी आपकी ड्रग की. After that, through this we can measure lipophilic character of drugs, or we can say through this we can measure lipophilic characteristic of drug molecules. Then through this recovery of antibiotics from fermentation, broth could be done through the process. After that, extraction of doses from biological fluids. So through this extraction of doses from biological fluid could be done. So this was the method of partition coefficient. After that, the solubility prediction. Through partition coefficient we can predict the solubility behavior of active compounds or APIs, whether they are hydrophilic or lipophilic in nature. So through this value of partition coefficient we can predict the solubility. If the value of partition coefficient is more, that means the substance is lipophilic, and if the value of partition coefficient is less, it means the substance is hydrophilic or water soluble. So this was the solubility prediction through partition coefficient. Next is release of drug from semi-solid dosage form. In semi-solid dosage form, for example, if we talk about the ointments. So in case of topical formulation or ointments, in this the main thing is partition coefficient. We measure the partition coefficient in case of ointment or semi-solid because of the penetration behavior of the active compound. If the substance would be hydrophilic in nature, or we can say if the substance having higher partition coefficient value, then only it can permeate through skin or topical surface. So release of drug through this ointment, we can predict that how much amount of drug will get released in how much time into the body. or we can say permeability behavior of the drug from the ointment, that is your dosage form. So this was the release of drug from semi-solid dosage form. After that, absorption of drug from the dosage form. It means if the drug would be more permeable into the body. After that, if drug is more permeable, then the absorption of drug again would be more as compared to the other drugs. Likewise, absorption, the distribution characteristic could also be studied through partition coefficient value. After that, the method for determination of partition coefficient. So first method is shake flask method, or in this method what we do, that we take one separating funnel which is known as shake flask method. In this we use separating funnel. So in separating funnel we put equal amount of water and an ethanol as oily phase, and we place drug, for example, which is predefined amount, that is 100 mg, or the amount could be vary. So this predetermined amount we place into the separating funnel which already have equal amount of water and an octanol. Then we shake the separating funnel for specified time, that could be 20 to 30 minutes. After the shaking of continuation, then we keep this flask for some time to set both the liquids into the separating funnel. After that, we separate out both the liquids from the separating funnel. Oily phase is different and water phase is separately we collect, and in both the liquid we found the concentration of drug, that how much amount of drug goes or solubilize into the oily phase and how much amount goes into the watery phase. So via the concentration determination we can find out the amount which is going into oil or organic phase and into aqueous phase. So this was the separating funnel or shake flask method to determination of partition coefficient. After that, we also perform chromatographic techniques, that is TLC, thin layer chromatography, high performance thin layer chromatography, that is HPTLC, for the partition coefficient. Then filter probe method also used frequently. After that, this was the main point into the second main point, that was solubility analysis. So in principal areas of pre-formulation, previously we had discussed about the bulk characteristic. After that we had started second main point, that is solubility analysis. In solubility analysis we had discussed about the pK determination, solubilization technique. Then this is the next heading in solubility analysis, that is partition coefficient. After this partition coefficient, next heading into solubility analysis is effect of temperature onto the stability. How the temperature affect stability of the product. So in this, first of all, heat of solution, that is delta HS. This is heat of solution, which represent the heat released or absorbed when a mole of solute is dissolved in a large quantity of solvent. Then significance of this is that the solubility process is endothermic, which, for example, non-electrolyte and unionized form of weak acid or weak base. So in this case, the delta H or heat of solution is positive, which means the solubility will get increased by increase into the temperature. So in second case, what happens? The solute which are in ionized form, which get ionized into the body fluids. So when we dissolve such kind of substances, the release heat, for example, exothermic, endothermic are those which absorb heat. these are those substances which absorb heat and get solubilized. That's why temperature increases the solubility. And in the second case, they release heat. That's why the solubility could be increased at lower temperature, and in this the delta H or heat of solution is negative. This was the partition coefficient and effect of temperature onto the stability. In next video we will discuss about the dissolution studies. Thank you.